Are you ready to create a life you crave? Let's spin that doom loop of negativity into an upward success cycle and start living lucky. Good morning. I'm Jana.
I'm Jason.
And we are living lucky. Jim Rohn says, stand guard at the door of your mind.
Oh, that's good.
Stand guard at the door of your gut. Stand guard at the door of your friend circle. Stand guard at the door of your heart. Stand guard at the door of your every orifice, right?
Yes.
At your energy circle, at your everything, I think.
Yeah.
Stand guard sometimes. I mean, there's a fine line because you want to be open to everything, new possibilities, new opportunities.
Giving people a chance, giving experiences
giving a
chance.
Second chance.
Yep.
However, there is a point where we are responsible for what we let into our sphere.
I just got goosebumps.
Really?
Yeah, because it is so powerful. And part of that is like setting your values, like knowing what your values are, and then just having those boundaries around, because sometimes you don't know who's coming to visit. Sometimes you don't know like what the experience is going to have available for you. But if you know what your values are right up front, and you have that at the front of your mind constantly, then you know where the stop point is.
I remember, I think it was my grandmother used to say, if you hang out with dogs, you're gonna get fleas.
That's right.
No offense, Tater. but there is truth to that.
Yeah.
I know that that's just a silly little
there's a reason
analogy,
it came out with that, though,
but
right?
it is. And I sometimes think, okay, the reason we're talking about this is yesterday, Jason and I were sitting in a class together, and it's all about the gut. I think we've mentioned on here, we're taking this Viome. It's kind of a project, really.
Full body intelligence.
Yes, and Jason and I are some of the guinea pigs that are starting this new. It's really, we're kind of the explorers in this area. Anyway, we are doing all sorts of scientific research on our gut. And in that, we are learning about our saliva, our blood, our gut, our biomes, all sorts of science things that we can't really explain right now.
All the microbes.
We're only in day 3.
Yeah, all the microbes that live inside us and those ecosystems that really activate and get our genes expressing themselves in certain ways towards our health or away from our health.
But the scientist yesterday was trying to put it in layman's terms for us. And he said, your gut is like a community. And when everyone is acting harmonious, everything is peaceful and lovely and
working together.
Collaborative.
Our bodies are actually built like we have a miracle system. Like it is so incredible that it heals itself, it repairs itself, it grows, but we do things to it and we allow things into it. And then we also just add things like antibiotics and other things.
Sugar.
That
we start putting things into our biome or our little community, and we bring things into it that aren't really supposed to be there. And then the more we put into it, then the more our body craves that, because it creates like this little sub-community.
Yeah.
It's almost like a little subculture inside of our culture.
And that's just the things that we put into our body, not like chronic stress that we allow to just build up. And we never give ourselves that space and that peace of mind to just get mindful and realize that, okay, I'm okay in this moment. There's no lion chasing me or no tiger chasing me. Just allow yourself to be free of that for a minute.
And then what happens is we get one bad bacteria that gets in there, and then we get one bad actor.
Yeah.
And then that starts
one bad apple ruins the bunch.
Infiltrating into all of the rest.
Yeah. instead of allowing the other apples to get rid of that bad
And
apple.
again, I go back to my childhood, and I remember, my parents were both teachers, and and my mom would come home and she would say, that fourth hour music class, it would be such a good class, except for, and then she would have that one kid that would cause such havoc. And as soon as that kid would start acting up, then it would become contagious, and so would start getting the itchies and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what happens inside our gut, and not only our gut, but like Jason said, let's just put it in a bigger scale. It happens in our emotions. So, we have all of these feelings and these emotions, and all of a sudden anxiety starts to rear its head. You know what I'm saying? And so we start to feed it a little bit, like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little nervous, starting to feel a little worried. And now, next thing you know, we're anxious.
And it just keeps building and building.
And now we're hyperventilating. Oh my gosh, I can't breathe. I'm panicking. I'm actually panicking, and then that feeds into, oh gosh, I'm isolating myself. I can't be around people. Oh my god.
And it bleeds into everything. It's so funny because it makes me think that some people protect the floors of their homes more than they protect anything else in their lives. Like take off your shoes before you come in.
Oh, I know.
But then,
have you ever been around people like that?
So don't track your dirty feet in, even if you have clean shoes.
No offense if you're that person.
But then we allow people to just track their filth through our minds, through their Facebook post, through their talk at the water cooler, through their talk at happy hour, through the things we watch on television, through the things that we put in through our guts by what we put in our body. So we don't allow people to we make them take their shoes off when they come in our house, but we don't protect our temple, our body.
And that is
mind.
Such a great point. And sometimes it happens unintentionally. For example, last night before we went to bed, Jason said, "Oh my gosh, Jana, I came across this a cappella group and they were so phenomenal. You would love them. I have to show you the video because they just blew me away. And I know that they are just going to resonate with your soul." So he pulls up this video of this a cappella group. And of course, they're playing one of my all-time favorite songs, which is Creep by Radiohead. And I played this song over and over and over during my depression, during a very, very dark time.
And they did such a beautiful job with the song, it didn't register with me that the words were toxic to the song.
Here's the thing. That song, I finally came to the conclusion that song was feeding my sadness, and it was feeding my,
because there's neuro-linguistic programming in the words.
yes, and it took me a while to become aware of what I was doing, but during my like, I went through a blue period. I call it my blue period now because every artist has a blue period, and during that time the actions that I was taking was actually feeding this despair inside me. There was something inside me that wanted to come out. And you look at some of the things that I was doing at that time, and one was listening to "I'm not a perfect person." Like the words and the songs that I was listening to were very macabre.
Yeah, it's
and very,
so you get that feeling of depression and anxiety,
haunting.
And then you start feeding it, and
yes.
then you find the things in the world that will feed that and grow it. You don't realize you're feeding it and growing it, but it's like, how do I amplify this feeling?
And so we reap what we sow. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because last night Jason plays this song for me, and Yes, the a cappella group was so beautiful and the song was so gorgeous. However, I immediately stopped him and said, "You can't play that song for me. The words in that song get into my subconscious and we're right before bedtime. And now I'm going to dream about creep and I'm an idiot and I don't belong here." I mean, the words in that song are they're very self-doubting and
self-deprecating. But the thing is, so they make these songs so that we don't feel alone when we're feeling like this.
Yes.
So there's this point of, I don't want to feel vulnerable, and I want to express myself, which makes people gravitate to it. Mm-hmm. But then we're feeding it by just replaying it over and over again, and that's how the tracks get laid in our mind.
And it's the same with it, and here's the thing, when you're finally aware of that, then you realize, wait a minute, if I can cause that downward spiral, I can also do the opposite. And so then you start thinking of, okay, well, what are songs that bring me up here? And for me, it's the Beach Boys. I'm feeling a good vibrations.
Expectations.
Good vibration. Yes. And I have actually done research about Brian Williams, and he suffered from depression, and he's talked about the words and the frequency that he was on at that time. He feels like he was tuning into something that was higher,
lifting him up.
It was lifting him up. And when he started singing at that higher vibration, he started bringing in people who were more talented, people who had more energy. He started attracting all of these higher, I can't even say it, opportunities, higher,
he was living lucky,
talented people. Yes. And so what I'm saying is we have more control than what we know, than what we realize. And so we need to become aware of what we're creating. We are creating our reality. So if there's something about your life that you don't like, become aware. Become aware. Stop. Be silent and realize, what is it that I am doing, thinking, feeling, or acting that is creating this? Who am I allowing into my sphere? What energies am I bringing in? Because I am attracting everything around me.
Yeah. So do you feel like you're moving into a healthier place in life? Do you feel like you're moving into a more abundant place in life? Do you feel like your relationships are getting better and richer? Do you feel like things, like your energy is going up? How do you want to feel in life? And are you playing the words and the soundtracks that lead you towards that or away from it?
Oh, this is so good. I hope this had the light bulb moments for anyone that's listening as it has for me, because just having this little conversation with you, Jason, has really just lit my soul.
Yeah. So, because we have to filter out what's taking us down that darker path and start focusing on what's can take us towards that brighter path. And we know what takes us towards that brighter path once we have that awareness.
It's becoming aware, realizing what's causing it, and realizing, hey, I have more power than what I realize. And if I have created the downward doom, I can also create the upward success.
Yeah, and if I'm allowing people in my life that lead me into that downward gloom, I can allow people in my life that lead me towards the light and happiness.
And the light and happiness starts with the Living Lucky podcast.
That's right.
Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye. If the idea of living lucky appeals to you, visit us at startlivinglucky.com.